All right, hi. Um, this is week 2 of me doing a live. So, if you don't know me, I'm Victoria. I'm a senior. So I'm doing a weekly Instagram live series. This week is focusing on teacher appreciation. So, a few people will be on here as well. I'm trying to see who's on first. Um, Hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. um,
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing well. This is officially my first time ever being live on Instagram. So part of
Very
me, I feel
fun.
like my phone needs to be further from my face, but I can't do that. So
I mean, it's a fun experience for sure.
nice.
Um, so as a part of Teacher Appreciation Week, I am tasked with asking you some questions about distance learning, but also like your teaching job in general. So I hope you had a good week so far. I mean, it's
I
Friday,
did.
which is always
Yeah,
good.
we made it through the week. It was awesome. Woo.
Um, so to start, happy Teacher Appreciation Week again.
Well, thank you.
Exciting. So just to start off simple, how like with the transition to online learning, how are you keeping things the same for your students in your class?
So I like to think that my goofy personality kind of shines through even when we are in in our digital classroom. It's often moments at the beginning of class where like we're waiting for students to come in and we're kind of getting the opportunity to chat and say hello and talk to each other about how things are going. I've been trying to kind of maintain some semblance of, like trying to keep that relationship going,
Yeah.
right? So in all of my classes, we've been doing like a question of the day every day, and sometimes the students come up with them, sometimes I come up with them. So I'll say that I've learned a lot about my students, and we've had a lot of like fun and interesting conversations based on that. As always, like in a science classroom, you try to kind of vary what you do from day to day. So I've been trying to do lots of different types of activities. So sometimes I'll have the students work on some sort of small experiment, or, if you don't have the materials at home, there's usually a video or something that you could watch instead. We also have been doing some engineering design projects and things that we might do in the classroom, but students are doing them at their own pace and in their own space, which has actually been in some cases kind of cool and like maybe even better than in the classroom in some cases, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. The fact that they're able to do labs and activities at home. So I guess along those lines, um, are there some ways that you've had to like adapt to online learning in your
Oh yeah,
classes?
for sure. I mean, I think the most challenging part for me is that I love people, and that's part of why I got into teaching. I love spending time with people of all ages, but especially students. And like I really play off of their enthusiasm in the classroom. And because like if we're all in a Google Meet, you can't all be like talking at the same time, or it's like really cacophonous and you can't understand anything that's going on. Miss, I really miss. So it's been a little bit of a challenge to kind of adapt those moments and kind of create those moments of spontaneity and being able to share like that excitement in the classroom space. Some ways that we've been able to kind of do that is by having students create videos that are shared or things like that to present projects that they've done. So that's been useful. I'm a big paper, like I'm an environmentalist, but I also tend to print a lot of things out for students, like worksheets, because sometimes I find it's difficult to juggle like a screen and a paper.
Yeah.
But I've been having a lot of fun developing digital worksheets that students can type on. So Google Sheets has been my best friend over the past few weeks. You can make some pretty cool like typable documents and actually do some interesting things with Google Sheets. So I've done a lot of that
Do you have
as
any
well.
examples of like how you utilize Google Sheets for those worksheets?
So one of the nice things about Sheets is that you can make like draggable questions or like drag and drop. So like, for example, my seventh graders are learning about like parts of the seed. And so I created little text boxes with all the parts of the seed. And then I had 2 diagrams and they could drag the boxes over and put them in the correct spots on Google Sheets. So like each student had their own copy of the document. And then when they made those changes, I was able to see that they could successfully do that. So that's something that you wouldn't be able to do like on a piece of paper as easily. So it's kind of neat.
That sounds really nice. Learning about seeds are such a great activity. I remember that when I was in middle school.
Yeah, the sixth graders' parents will tell you that they've been sprouting a lot of interesting seeds they found in their kitchen. It's like anything that comes out of a pepper or a tomato or some herbs. Yeah.
So, what is your favorite thing about teaching middle school science?
Where do I start? My favorite thing about teaching middle school science is that I find that middle school students in particular are very curious and they are very excitable, which kind of fits me and my personality pretty well. I think my students will be one of the more enthusiastic people they know, and put on a little song and dance during class. So it's nice to be able to kind of be a nerd and joke around without people, like the students kind of embrace that rather than think like, oh, she's really not cool, which is pretty nice. We also get to do a lot of cool content in 5th and 6th and 7th. I get to teach 7th grade this year too, which has been really fun. I really love the content and kind of the level at which we are able to cover it. Students are really, they know a lot already, but they have so much left to discover. And so it's like this really nice middle ground.
Oh, that's so sweet. So was teaching your profession like your dream career, or like how did you go to become a middle school science teacher?
Sure. So it's actually an interesting journey. I said as a young kid, my sister will tell you that I like made her play school with me when I was a child. I actually think she's listening right now. She hated it. So I wanted to be a teacher my whole life, but I actually took a little detour because my college teaching courses were kind of boring. So I ended up studying sociology and becoming like really passionate about social justice. But then got involved in environmental education after school because one of the things that I got excited about was, there she is environmental protection and environmentals, protecting the environment for people. So I started doing that as an informal educator at farms and nature centers all over New Jersey. And after a few years of doing that, like I absolutely loved it. I loved being outside with kids. But what I loved the most about those things was the teaching part. And so when I got an opportunity, when I heard about the position opening up at Stuart, I got really excited and applied. And I've been here. This is my 4th year, wrapping up now. So it's been a lot of fun to kind of bring some of my nature education experience to the school. So that's, my last environmental ed job was on a farm where I managed our chicken coop. So it's been fun to be able to bring that to, I didn't bring it to Stuart, but to be a part of that at Stuart too.
That's amazing. Environmental education is one of my career goals.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm majoring in environmental science and policy in college.
Nice. So, well, if you ever want to chat offline about it, let me know because I love environmental ed and I do miss it. I miss being outside every day with the kids.
Oh, me too. I always make sure that I go on one walk with my dog per day. Just one.
Absolutely. That is important for mental health.
Oh, for sure. Oh, and that leads me to another question. So obviously, sure, teaching is an important profession too, but it's not your only role. So like, how have you been taking time for yourself during this quarantine?
So that's actually been a lot of fun. I have been spending, my garden has been started much earlier than it normally would be. I've got like crazy amounts of lettuce and stuff like that popping up. I've been making English muffins. I just put them in this bag. They're not from the store, I promise. But I've been making English muffins. That's been fun. That's been like my food a lot. And I've also been making kombucha, playing guitar, ukulele, hanging out with my cats. Yeah, it's been pretty good.
That sounds really nice, especially the kombucha part. I'm a big fan.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been making lots of interesting flavors.
Oh my God, that sounds great. So I'm gonna wrap up this little session with one more question.
Sure.
What do you love and miss the most about Stuart?
Well, by and large, like by far, what I miss the most is the students. Seeing their faces every day. There's something like the first week of school when we go back as a faculty, it's like nice to be back in the building and to see my colleagues. But when things really come alive is when the girls get back in the building and you see them like skipping down the hallways and greeting you. And that's definitely the thing I love and miss the most. I mean, the students at Stuart are just like beyond most people I know. They're very high quality humans. And so I miss spending time with them every day in person. I miss that a lot.
Yeah, same here. Well, thank you for joining.
Sure. Thanks for having me on. And hope you have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so round 2 of teachers I need to find. Here we go. Okay, I hope everyone is having a good day. Yeah. Hi, Miss Katurah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm also a first-time Instagram live girl, so I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Sorry.
No, you're totally good. Do you just want to introduce yourself real quick for anyone who's like watching?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dominika Harchek. I'm going into my 10th year at Stuart. And I taught 5 years of lower school music, and now I teach first grade. And I've taught second grade too, but now I think I'm back in first.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love lower school kids.
It's the best.
So we're kind of starting off with the same questions for everybody, but like with the transition to online learning, how are you keeping the things same for your students? I imagine it's a bit different than upper school education for sure.
It's totally different. I think something that's really great is that we have optional live times for the girls. So if they're wrapped up in an outside adventure or something and they don't make it to our morning meeting, that's okay. There's another time that they can pop in and connect with us. So what's really nice is that we have Gute together every and they come join us at 10 o'clock. So we have time together to kind of share, go through our days, keep some things the same that we would be doing in a morning meeting at school, but they're just munching along on their goldfish, hanging out together. So that's something that's really special.
That's really nice. And I imagine as well, there's certain aspects of online learning that you've had to adapt your classes with as well.
Totally. What's really great is that we're using a platform called Seesaw in the lower school, in the K through 2, which is an interactive platform that the first grade has had a lot of experience. If you've been down to my classroom, you know that they have a little Seesaw studio with Stewie curtains, and they kind of pop in there, if not each day, every other day during the school year. So that's a time for them to post a video of something they're working on or take a picture of a math project that they're creating. So they were already really familiar with that platform. So now I get to use it in a way where I can post their assignments or put videos of myself teaching, and they can watch it on their own time and then submit it. And what's really cool is that they're starting to take their own videos and share it with their friends. So somebody's posting a video on how to do origami for Mother's Day, and I can share that out with everyone else so they can comment. And I think the latest is we're starting, our class is called the honeysuckle class, and they want to start a honeysuckle band. So that's their latest objective. We have a couple students who play instruments, and they've been sharing performances of them singing or playing guitar. So the latest on the comment thread is that they're going to start a band, and I am definitely in full support.
That sounds so adorable. I wish I could see that.
Well, here's the thing. I'd love anyone to come join us. We love our Stuart Big Sisters. So if anyone wants to pop into our 10 o'clock morning meeting, we have it every day. You can come join us. Mrs. Dowling pops in, our specialist teachers pop in. I know Mr. Tony was thinking about popping in. So if anybody, this is a PSA, if anyone wants to pop into our 10 o'clock meeting, just let me know and I'll send you our Google Meet link.
Oh gosh, amazing. So I guess this is a good segue. So you said you teach first grade, correct? Or is it second grade? Okay. So what is your favorite thing about teaching your first graders?
Ooh. Okay, my favorite thing about teaching first grade is definitely the curiosity. They are so curious, and they also have the energy to figure out the answers to all of their questions, if that makes sense. So they're incredibly inquisitive, and they're really interested in making connections. That kind of drives their interests. And that's one of the best things. I think we found a way to harness it remotely now, but that was one of the things I was worried about when we started. So I think something that's working is keeping their classroom as consistent as I possibly can. Like, one of the things we do is read Laura Ingalls. So I definitely grabbed this book before we left. They have their same writing journals and manipulative. So they're used to that and they're really comfortable in that structure so that they can go out and explore and be creative in a way that they're already comfortable doing.
That sounds so nice. And so I guess obviously teaching is not just the main aspect of your life. So like, what are you doing during this time to not only like stay organized, but also just take some time for yourself? Because this is just a world quarantine right now.
So I am someone who definitely thrives in organization. So I love being super organized. So I am planned out, ready to go. And that's something that puts me at ease. But I'm also getting outside a lot more than I usually can during the school day. So I'm used to being out on the nature trail or on the playground with the girls. So I'm trying to make up for that. And I live right in Hopewell, and there are lots of walking trails and paths. So I like to get out and go on some long walks. It's really keeping me sane. And some good chamomile.
Ooh, I have to say my favorite tea is Earl Grey. So
Ooh,
chamomile,
that's a good way to start the day.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with like the walking aspects too. Like, being active is so important. I feel like
absolutely.
if you cooped up
and yesterday was so gorgeous. I'm waiting for us to do an outdoor first grade day. I got to get everybody on board, but for us to do our Gute meeting outside would be so fun.
That would be a great opportunity for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess just to wrap up, there's a few more minutes. Obviously we are away from Stuart, and that's a little bit disheartening. It's bittersweet. So what do you miss the most about Stuart? And I guess that also ties into like, what do you love the most about Stuart?
Oh man, I love Stuart so much. It's hard to pick one thing. I'm going to definitely agree with Miss Kohler and say the people. That is the number one thing. I miss the hugs in the hallway. I miss connecting with people in different divisions. I also really miss our building. I think our building is so special and so unique, and I love Lapitu's architecture. That just speaks to me. So as I'm cooped in my tiny apartment, I definitely miss the big windows of Stuart and the Eucharistic architecture. So I definitely miss our space a lot. I'm excited to be back there eventually.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I'm just hoping.
Me too, and the girls are
too.
So trust that we're planning exciting things for when we can. So know that they're in the works.
And I can't wait to hear all about it from afar because of college, but
from a distance.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
Appreciate it a lot. Have a great weekend.
See you soon. Hopefully.
See
you too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm going to add the next person if I can find. Is Miss Ryan here? That is a good question. I do not think so. So I can talk. I'm just gonna say a little tidbit about how much I appreciate our teachers. Obviously, like, I'm a senior, so I'm graduating in a bit, and so that is very, very exciting for me. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped me along the way, all of my teachers. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I learned a lot, which is very good. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, it's loading. Hello. Very confused. Hi.
Hi.
Oh. Okay. Wrong person. My bad. That was very confusing. Okay. I don't think Miss Ryan is on here. So I'm just going to move on to Miss Testa. Oh, you went to your school. Thanks for visiting. Hi, Miss Testa.
Hi, Victoria.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am getting a little bit of cabin fever, but I am surviving and thriving. A lot of online conversations with my friends, which is really important.
Well, and I think that's what we're all doing. We're all feeling that cabin fever right about now, and because it's been 2 months. But the sunshine earlier this week was helpful. I was able to get outside for a little bit and do some work outside, so that was fun.
That's good. Yeah, yesterday was the perfect day. So my dog and I went on multiple walks.
It really was.
Although today is a bit more overcast, which is sad, but oh well. Okay, so with the theme of online learning. Okay, first of all, happy Teacher Appreciation Week. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
No problem. So obviously you deal with all of the STEM classes and all the technology classes specifically. How are you keeping things the same for your students in this class?
For my 2 classes that I teach both AP Computer Science Principles and AP Computer Science. And most of their stuff is lab-based where they're programming. And they kind of are pretty independent with it anyway. So I would say about every other class of ours has been independent work where they need to finish and prepare for the AP exam. And then we get together and do a few, this past week for AP Computer Science, we did a few mock exams so that they could practice the new online format. And then AP Computer Science Principles, they were working on their portfolio pieces and just submitted today.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting.
It was very exciting. They were quite happy to be done and have their submissions ready to go and finalized.
Yeah, and then, I mean, obviously there's also some aspects that you've had to adapt to with online.
The one main thing I've had to adapt to is providing feedback, because so often we would talk through the computer science problems and explaining where people went wrong and how to solve the problems so that they don't make mistakes again. So in order to do that, basically what I've been doing is screencasting. I put their work on my screen and the answer on my screen, and I talk through where they would receive points, where they wouldn't receive points, and then send the videos to them through Google Classroom. So that's one of my major adaptations that I've been doing for my classes.
I would assume that's very helpful to have that still going.
Yeah, it is, because then they still get, because we would do so much conferencing, and it's a way to conference, and then they can go back and rewatch and relook and take some notes. So I think it's I'm hoping to use it in the future as well, even once we do go back, so that everything can then you can start to see a progression because it's recorded.
That's nice. And then you have a daughter, so I was wondering, how are you viewing online learning from both the role of a teacher but also as a parent?
Yeah, it's challenging. Having to balance both teaching and making sure she's doing some learning is it's a double time job, really. So we've been spending a lot of time doing, her teachers have been fabulous with providing the work and having some Google Meets and some conferencing time. In fact, they made some Mother's Day gifts this week, which was kind of nice.
That's so cute.
Yes, and they're provided with literacy work and math work, and she enjoys some of it, not all of it. So it's lower school, you kind of have to be right next to them to make sure they get things done. But she's also enjoying a lot of the educational games that have been set up for her.
That's really nice. Yeah. And so I guess since you are in charge of STEM at Stuart, I was wondering, what is your biggest piece of advice that you would give to students who want to pursue a career in STEM, not only in high school, but also in college and beyond?
Relish the mistakes. Mistakes are the part of learning, and mistakes happen all the time. And that's how science exists. I've been working this week with the STEM endorsement students with their statistics, because they will be presenting later on this week, or later on this month, towards the end of the month, they'll be presenting their projects. And, having the conversations of mistakes happen. And when mistakes happen, how do we learn from them? And what can we tell the next person who would like to do an experiment similar to what they've done, to learn from errors or to learn what worked and what didn't work. So embrace the messiness of learning, embrace the mistakes, and don't worry about being perfect, because nothing is ever perfect, and just keep moving with the flow and ebbing and changing. And I think that's something this time right now has shown us, that, you know, people's Wi-Fi goes in and out, you know, computer breaks, you can't get on, and you know, just ebbing with it and enjoying the little bit that we can. I've totally have enjoyed my family time, because especially on the weekends, we've spent more time outside together as a family, working in our yard. And we have a garden, so we started to plant our garden. And a little bit of what Miss Kohler said with the 6th grade seeds. I started celery in my house. I just took a regular garden, like a regular celery from the grocery store, and chopped off the end and put the end in water just to see what would happen, and started to grow the stalk. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I did the same. I did the same, but with chia seeds. So now I have a little terracotta pot full of chia sprouts. It's the cutest thing for me. I'm now gonna go into gardening. Like, that's my new life plan.
You know, it's so much fun. And to me, I also find it relaxing to, you know, to watch plants grow over time. And again, it's one of those things that it's not instantaneous, but if you care for it and you put in the time and effort, the fruits of the labor are fantastic.
Oh, for sure. Although I'm sort of missing out on my town has a community garden, and that's where you'd get like the best tomatoes. But obviously, like, I'm missing out on that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and you can, there's even, I mean, you can even do a small container. Like, tomatoes are great to grow in container pots. I did that when I was living in an apartment. I lived in an apartment before our house for like 10 years. And we put containers right out on our patio and in our windows. So, you know, you just need a big, deep pot for tomatoes. And then that way the animals don't get at it too.
Yeah, we get a lot of deer. So that's like the major concern. Like, my mom used to plant hydrangeas, I don't know how to say it, outside, but they would always eat it. So
yeah, they like the hydrangeas. And we actually have our squirrels. I've been trying to grow corn for years, and our squirrels keep digging at it. Yeah, but it is a part of everything. You know, it's a part of learning, and it's a part of, okay, so I guess I'm not growing that, because I don't think I can get rid of the squirrels. The deer, we put some fencing up, but the squirrels are really harder.
Yeah, they're so tiny. They're so fast.
They are very fast.
So I guess another question for you is, like, how do you think technology, especially in this case of quarantine, how does that make teaching more simple but also more difficult at the same time?
It does both, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So one thing I've been thankful for is working with it, because I also work with the teachers for training and learning new technology. Everybody has really embraced the fact that how to best put their classes out, and have spent a lot of time focusing on what they would like to do and working on some of the ed tech that has been out there. The great thing about it is a lot of the ed tech companies have been offering free trials so teachers can test things out and look for what works and what doesn't work. Facebook has been absolutely fantastic. I'm in 3 Facebook groups for technology and STEM, and everybody's been posting information and things that work for them and what they've been using for years. So I think that's been great, the embracement of the technology. And to me, it also helps, a lot of our tech also helps provide some individualization.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful if we can really start to personalize education and get students moving in the way that they need to move.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I guess one final question. So what do you miss the most, but also what do you love the most about Stuart?
You know, I really missed Stuart in the springtime, the blooms,
Mm-hmm.
the flowers coming up, the sunshine coming in, the architecture, and the excitement of you seniors at this time. I miss that, the giddiness of knowing where you want to go, and thinking back and reflecting back at your Stuart career and what you were going to miss the most, and having those in deep conversations with the seniors who just drop by the makerspace. I really do miss that, because they would just stop in and like just kind of hover and talk and talk about college plans and what they liked about Stuart and what they haven't, what they'd like to see changed and all of that. I miss that. What was it? What I like about Stuart? The people.
Yeah.
And I know you've heard that time and time again. There is something about a Stuart girl. There is something about the faculty and the staff that we all come together when needed and when in crisis. And I think we've even seen this here. I mean, the other day I had an asynchronous class and students can drop in if they wanted to. And it was first period in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I made it asynchronous so people could sleep in. They all showed up just to say hi. It was Monday morning and they were all there. So, just that being, yes, it's great on the screen and it felt wonderful to see everybody, but the actual physicalness I miss the most right now.
Yeah, I think the same could be said for all of us. Stuart is such a special environment, and it takes leaving it to fully recognize that.
So what are you going to miss the most?
There's a lot to it. I'm definitely going to miss like my friends, obviously. I feel like we're all going in so many different directions that it's going to be a bit difficult to be like staying in touch with everybody, but it's a challenge I'm willing to take. And I really cherished my 4 years there.
Well, and with this new, with all of the Zooming, Google Meeting, FaceTiming, group chats, I mean, this time has shown you that yes, while you're far apart, you guys can actually figure out ways to reconnect with one another.
No, exactly. But I think another thing is just the environment at Stuart, and obviously my teachers, I wouldn't be going where I'm going or doing what I'm doing if it weren't for the classes I took. And I thoroughly enjoyed every single teacher I had. And it's just my classes have started to wind down a bit because of APs, and it's wow, they're over. So it's starting to process that. I know that's something I really miss too. But yeah, it's weird being a senior. The years flew by.
It's so exciting though as well. And the next few weeks before graduation are going to fly by too. You're going to have so much to look forward to, even in this uncertainty. You know, and be proud of the fact that Stuart has prepared you well.
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful. I'm definitely indebted as well. I appreciate, hence Teacher Appreciation Week. I definitely appreciate everyone for sure.
Yes, and I do believe Miss Ryan has finally made it onto our list.
Yay! Okay.
So you can head on over to her.
Okay. Have a great weekend, Miss Testa. Thank you.
You too, Victoria.
Thanks. Bye. Okay. Oh, I flipped my camera. What? Okay. I fixed it. Yay. Despite being a Gen Z, I am very not technologically advanced. So there's that. Okay.
Did I do it?
Hi,
Did I do it? Hi, how are you? Sorry, my kid was crying and then I lost track of time and I was like, oh gosh, I gotta go.
No, you're doing fine. I thought you joined at some point because I didn't know what your username was. So I added somebody to
oh no,
the live and it wasn't you, and I was like, oh no.
Never mind. Yeah. I'm here. Sorry about that.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's yeah. A lot of, there are ups and downs, but hanging in there, How about you? Good?
Cabin fever is attacking me, but I'm taking a lot of time for myself, which is important.
Good.
And
good.
Also, I've been walking with my dog. And
oh, nice. Yes, that's huge.
Fun.
Good.
Yeah, I always take her to, we have a park. So I let her go and she just runs circles just by herself. It's the cutest thing.
Aw. She's getting stir crazy too.
Yeah. But she's always so happy, which is insane to me.
Yeah,
Like,
good.
there's never
And
a
that's always the therapeutic quality of pets, right? Typically.
Yeah, unless she like chews through one of my shoes, which has happened. But
Yes, and that's not fun. But even then, they're still cute, even when they're
Yeah.
chewing through shit.
Can't be mad.
Right.
Okay, so obviously you're very involved with health and wellness. So you're probably teaching a health class too this trimester.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, how have you been keeping things the same for your students?
Still trying to keep to the same content, and use some of, there's some videos and resources that I use that I'm still using, but just in a little bit of a different way. So using some different applications and stuff like that to make it a little bit easier. So let's say like for a video or something, I'm going to give a little plug to Edpuzzle. I'll put Edpuzzle in there so that I can, since I can't, usually I'll stop a film and then we'll do reflection questions.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So with Edpuzzle, it'll stop it for the kids. And that also gives a chance to have like asynchronous classes so that kids can do it at their own pace. Yeah.
And then what are some ways that you've had to adapt your curriculum as well?
So full disclosure, I've been, teaching health class. I get to teach some interesting topics and some topics that are pretty personal. So at first I was like praying that we would be together later. So I was trying to do this stuff that was a little bit more, that I try to keep my pulse on the kids, through one-on-one meetings and just being able to see their faces. Yeah. But then when I found out and I had a better idea that we wouldn't be going back, I just had to bite the bullet. And I'm not ashamed of anything that I'm teaching or anything, or I'm not embarrassed of the content. It's more about the comfort of the students and making sure that they feel comfortable in whatever environment they're in to learn everything that I'm going to be teaching. And so I have been trying to give fair warning, like try to find a room where no one can hear your business and finding anonymous ways for kids to ask questions, to make them more comfortable. Yeah.
That's nice though. It's like great that you take into so much consideration.
I've been thinking, that's like all I think about. I'm like, I hope they don't hate me for wanting to teach them this stuff still. I just think it's so important for them to learn it, especially for 8th graders that I won't have, like some of them I won't have next year, and then juniors if I won't see them senior. And I also have a lone senior in the class that you're friends with. So so she so I'm trying to think of her too, before she leaves. Yeah.
And then just like some background, like what inspired you to go into health and wellness as like a teaching profession?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys, so some people might know the story. I started at Stuart as the athletic trainer. So I was like a Megan Sanfrone, and that's what I studied in college. And, part of that job is also, you work with athletes, and so you are kind of like a little bit like of a health teacher. So all the material and the information is the same. So all the same classes. So it started as athletic training, and then with athletic training, I worked at Stuart with high school age kids. And when I also worked at a physical therapy place, I always liked having the teenage patients and like doing exercise, rehab programs with the teenagers. And it just, I started thinking of, a lot of times with athletic training, you're in a school, you're in education in some aspect, whether collegiate or high school. There are, a small percentage that go to the professional leagues, but it's pretty rare, especially for females. And so it just made sense to go into that path. And then I started, thinking about education, and I ended up at Stuart, and it all came together.
Yay. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And so like that also like ties into like you've been assisting with like personal fitness classes again, as well as health. So like what are some words of advice that you would give your students about like both managing the massive amount of screen time we have now because everything is online, but as well as like making sure that you're staying healthy?
Yeah, so I would say for managing screen time is, I know that there are things that we have to get done. And if we want to even communicate with people, we have to be on screen. But something that my husband and I have been really cognizant of is just being like, all right, everyone, like, unplug. No phones for fun, no phones for anything. Just let's unplug, let's get outside, let's go for a walk. If it's not nice enough to go for a walk, then let's just hang out and just sit and talk to each other for a little bit. Do some crafts. Like, my kids are huge with crafting, stuff like that. And I think just I know that there are some people, it's hard for them to get outside. So for those people, even if you just try sitting to do nothing once in a while, just having that minute, to reflect is good. And so sometimes, I just need to give my body a little bit of a rest. And so once in a while, my husband and I will take turns, depending on who's with the kids or whatever. And we'll just go upstairs and just lay down or just lay on the recliner for a minute. Just to kind of, not that it's going to completely, I always use the battery thing. Not that my battery's going to get completely full, but that I can refill it a little bit, just so that I can keep going with the next thing. And so if my husband hears me yelling at the kids about something, he'll walk over and he'll say, why don't you let me handle this? I'm like, okay. So then I let him do that. I walk away and we take turns. And so if I notice Daddy's freaking out, then I'm like, all right, babe, why don't you go in the other room and I'll so I think having that balance of someone. But for teenage kids, you need an imaginary person, or maybe your parents can be that person to say to you, hey, babe, you look like you're frustrated with this. Why don't you go take a step back and just do nothing for a minute, or go for a walk outside. Outside really helps, even on the front porch. Yeah. So if my kids are freaking out, I'll also say, go sit on the front porch, take a few deep breaths, and then come back in. Just to get a change of scene, it helps.
Yeah.
And then eating wise, sometimes you have to be really cognizant of what you're eating and say to yourself, it's fuel too. It's not necessarily something I want to be eating sometimes. But if I look at my plate and I see that I'm doing more of an emotional eating, and I notice that it's full of just stuff that's not really going to give me some really good nutrients, I have to say, okay, is this what I want to be modeling for my kids, number one? And is this good for my body? Is it going to fuel me? And then I'll just force myself to put some spinach on my plate or something like that, or some fruit. But yeah, every once in a while you're gonna do a little bit of an emotional eat, as long as it's not consistent, right? Yeah.
I mean, I can attest to that. I find myself I don't know, I'll get a snack out of boredom, and I'm like, no, I shouldn't be doing that. So
yeah, the boredom eating is really easy to do. So trying to eat something like nuts or berries or something, that's a good boredom food.
I have a little tin of pistachios, so.
And you love your wasabi peas too, I know.
I love wasabi peas. I have oh my gosh, I have my little bin.
Good, yay!
I love them. So, yeah.
So funny.
That's one of the things I miss about our health class.
The wasabi peas.
Wasabi peas.
I thank God you ate them before we left, because they'd still be sitting there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They're a good snack too.
They are.
Perfect man-tang. It's I asked Ms. Tessa this question as well. So you have 2 daughters at Stuart. So I was wondering, how do you view distance learning from both a teaching perspective, but as a parent as well?
Oh my gosh. Where do I start? So I think it depends on the kid, honestly. It depends on the day, and it depends on the minute, and it depends on if they're cranky or not. So, there are some things, that some days are just so easy and you're like, oh, awesome. We got this and everything's great. And then other days, depending on, it could be an assignment that triggers them. It could be if they didn't sleep well, they had a nightmare. So I think the best thing that I think we keep trying to do here is to remind ourselves that it's always going to be, there's going to be good days and there are going to be bad days. And to not stress that it's not always great, Yeah. I think that's the most important thing, to know that just like any other day, it's just harder. There's always a harder aspect, because we're just, we're all kind of trapped here, and we are, without some people that we're used to seeing, and like just being mammals, that physical touch and that being able to talk to each other and just put your arm around a friend, we don't realize how incredibly psychologically soothing and necessary that is, just as being animals. And so when we don't have that all the time, that can be hard. And so it just makes days harder sometimes. But I think, yeah, I think we're all still learning. And I think we're all valuing family. And we were just saying, when all this is over, like, we're going to miss seeing each other all the time, because we have a commute, you know, we all commute, and we're always, you know, we're not home often. So we're trying to value that as well. But yeah, the distance learning isn't terrible. It's not terrible.
I agree. There's some days where it's like an 8 a.m. though. I just want to sleep in.
Oh.
But
yeah.
Okay. I guess like one last question. I've been asking everyone this, but I think it's an important question. What do you love the most about Stuart, but also what do you miss the most about Stuart in this period of time? Oh my gosh. So I don't want to I love everything about that school. Oh my God. I mean, just from the people, like just our culture, our community, and the environment, I think it's a beautiful campus. Everything's very serene and peaceful. And I love, you know, Stuart. So, so mostly the people, and that's what I miss the most. I miss the most just being able to walk up to the USRC and just, you know, shoot the breeze with the kids and my friends, and just like the daily hallway interactions with people. But I really, really miss like that energy of the USRC and hearing you guys singing and like fooling around and just being like, hey, what are you guys doing? And just talking about nothing and everything. You know, I just think we're such a community, and we're so, I don't know, I just really, like, I like lost it the other day on one of my classes because I was just, I miss you guys. And it was a bunch of seniors, and I miss you guys, and I feel like we're robbed of our last couple of months. But yeah, I really miss the kids. Yeah. We'll make it up eventually. That's the truth.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we have to keep.
Sweet, but
the whole life. Get to hang out. Yeah.
I'm just fingers crossed for August. Just August 8th
graduation. Oh my gosh. August, and that's my birthday too, so it'll be even better.
Oh my God, that's great. Like
it'll be fun. Yeah, twofer. Yeah, it'll be nice.
It's perfect.
So I'll be huge, hopefully anyway. By the time you guys see me in August, I will have a huge bump of a child in my belly, so that'll be cool too.
Oh my gosh. What?
Wait, what? You didn't know?
No.
You didn't know I was pregnant?
No.
Yeah, I'm like totally pregnant. Thank you. Oh, what? I thought you knew. Oh my God. Oh, Victoria. Oh, honey. Oh, I thought you knew. Oh my God, I love you. Yeah. Oh, I thought you knew. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I'm so surprised.
Oh. Yes, I'm doing October. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes. I know it's been a long time, right? I've been trying for a while.
Oh, that's so great.
Thank you. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Oh,
I love babies.
Oh. All the more reason to come back and visit, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
You know. Christmas breaks popping on in.
Oh my gosh, what a fun way to find out. That's so fun. Oh, she's crying. Miss Moore's crying out too. That is too sweet. Oh, thank you, Victoria.
One giant group crying session.
Yes.
Hey kids. Wait, oh my gosh. I was just like, oh, I thought you were making a joke about, like, I don't know, like being stuck at home and just like eating, and then you said child, and I was like, no, no. What?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, and then it took me a second again because I was like, a food baby?
Yeah.
No, I'm like, a baby.
I know, an actual, like a baby. Yeah, I've got like a bump now. It's really fun. Yeah. So I still have to start getting my maternity clothes out soon. So what am I now? I'm definitely 4 months. I'm considered 4 months. Like, cause when you're pregnant, you go by weeks. So,
Yeah.
to do the whole month thing it's kind of hard, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is such like strange timing because like Freya and I, we have a group chat and we just send each other baby videos because like Shreya was just like, oh, I want a kid. I want to move to Hawaii and have a kid. And I'm like, girl, you're in college. Like,
Not yet soon, not yet.
yeah.
That's
But
so
just
funny. Oh
Instagram,
my
like
gosh.
I'm keeping in touch with everybody. TikTok is a godsend.
Oh,
sending
good. I tell Shrey I said hi. I haven't seen her. Little Shrey.
I will. She's like doing midterms right now.
Oh,
so I was like, yo, we should go on a social distancing walk because we live right next to each other. And like,
yeah.
everything. But then she's like, I have like 3 midterms today. And I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, a lot of the grads are all doing finals and stuff like that. It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm just like, APs are in 2 weeks too. Just,
I
like,
know.
Trying to, like, my thing is I push that out of my mind, but then I'm like, it's 2 weeks away from me. So then I'm like, oh, gotta come back in my mind because I gotta prepare.
And then it's like, boom, it's there. Yeah, you'll do well. I'm not worried, right?
I hope.
Yeah.
I mean, my
That's
school
good.
only takes 2 credits anyways. So I have 2 credits from last year.
So yeah.
So
just do it for fun.
I mean,
oh my gosh,
I still want to do well. Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to me.
My pleasure. This is so funny. I can't wait to tell my husband that. You had no idea. Guess what? She found out in Celeste. Thank you so much for doing this. I saw the show you did with Roma too. That was really good. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
It's a lot of fun.
It's good. I'm glad. Good. All right. Enjoy your weekend. I hope you do something fun for your mama for Mother's Day.
I have a whole big plan, so it will be fun.
Awesome. I'm sure it'll be awesome. All right. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay. Just to wrap up, thank you everyone for joining. That was very eventful. I had a lot of fun. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I just want to say that I appreciate every single I can't speak. Oh my gosh, I'm still like freaking out. I appreciate every single teacher at Stuart. You have helped me so much throughout the past 4 years. I am so grateful and so indebted to you. Even if it's from afar, just know that I really appreciate everything that Stuart has done for me. And yeah, see you next week. Thank you. Bye.